Our vision is to connect 100,000 buildings in the next few years, right? But let's say 20% of those on-net buildings plus the multiplier. How many, we don't know, yeah? That's our market. And the unique thing is that we say those NENET buildings, we call the likes of Yami, and we say, hey, let's connect those buildings with 10 gig. Or we use that one on-net building as a hub. And that's the little secret of our rollout. And it's very important. I guess it's no longer a secret, right? But this is a game changer. First of all, it's 10 gig. And second of all, it's in your building, if you want it. And the little secret that will be no longer a secret then is that we need it. But you need it too. If you own a building, you need it too. You know, when you are Vodafone or T-Mobile or Verizon in the USA or AT&T, it's okay, you know, that the building owner says, you know what, if you want to use my building, you're going to pay us. Right? That's called, you know, rooftop access rights. With us, it's different. We say, F off. If you don't want it, so what? We'll go next door. Because the minute you don't have 10 gig and wireless connectivity in your building for a gig per user, you are the loser. Because if the next door building has it, you're effed. F stands for fucked, right? So, that's a different story. And that's the power that Angie brings to the table. On the other hand, we need you, but guess what? You don't know yet, but you need us too. Because the market is evolving. And it's not going to stop anywhere. Even if I get hit by a Rolls Royce or a bus, this will go on. This business is out now and it's deploying. We signed lots of agreements in the last week with some partners. We don't name them yet, but it's already going. You know, I've signed it personally. And it's going to happen now. The orders are out. And it's just the beginning. We're talking about hundreds in the coming weeks, thousands in the coming months. So this is the whole little tango dance that we'll do with the industry and with the market. And of course there is a need for education for what Angie is bringing to the table. So we made some nice videos about it. We have a lot of websites displaying this for the market. But the most important thing is, and this will be announced then one of these days, the real beauty is that we need the buildings that are on net, but also near net. But those near net buildings, those off net buildings need us too. The average cost for 100 megabit per second, if you're lucky, is $300. Yeah, right? Around so. So we'll bring a gig connection for less than half the price in the USA, and for 1/3 in the UK and Netherlands. So that's a 10 times faster connection. And when you would say, okay, well, it's for business, so you need a reliability. Well, guess what? We're not living in 1900s anymore. We're living in 2017 almost. And wireless technology is advanced as it gets. Secured, you know, static IP, you name it, everything you want for your business is possible. So there is going to be this beautiful synergy between the market and what Angie brings. And it's unique what Angie brings, because I can't think of any other company that is doing this at such a scale or in such a fashion. This business model is unique. And it will remain unique on this scale. You know, there will be some cute, like a little ISP maybe in a few weeks' time doing this also for the local market. But there are a few differences. We use wired extreme. Yeah, kom binnen, Letty.
Hey,
Hey, hello. Take a seat.
Sure. Thank you.
So, I'm from my apropos, Letty. So, the wireless extreme rollout is citywide. It's Wi-Fi, it's gigabit. Now you can have some questions about, you know, well, will it be reliable? Will I get the speed? Okay, well, check our frequent asked questions section, please. But we pull fiber everywhere. So your building is going to be a welcome addition to our grid. We call it the Smart Communications Network, right? Newell came up with that, can you imagine? So what we use is wireless extreme infrastructure for you at home and your office wirelessly. We use 10 gigabit as the connection or the backhaul of choice, 10 gigabit per location, right? It's not 10 gigabit per 100 or so, per location. And then we think we are able to make a smart communications infrastructure, a smart communications grid, smart communications network. And what is that exactly? Well, you all know about the grand visions of big cities, you know, having, you know, the desire to become a smart city, right? But what is a smart city? A smart city is going to be explained by different people in different means, with different descriptions. There's no real uniform vision about it. Smart cities is that everything will be much more organized, especially communication-wise, electronically transmitted. The Internet of Things will be part of it. The sensor networks will be part of it. You know, your parking efforts will be much more easier and convenient than ever before. Blah, blah, blah. But there's one lacking component of a smart city. And that's why there is almost no real smart city in the world. I don't know of any fully smart city. Singapore not, Dubai not, no. They are wanting it. But what is lacking is one thing really important. And especially for the smart city 2017 onward, you will need much more powerful infrastructure. And that's exactly what's lacking, has been lacking. Infrastructure has been lacking. Because you can have the nicest technology available, working for you, but if it's not communicating back somewhere, if it's not gathered, it's not data analyzed, if it's not transmitted or possibly even communicated to some operations, it's of no use. So you need a smart infrastructure also in order to have a smart city for your citizens. And that's lacking until today. So what Angie is saying is those markets that we enter are already then becoming smart city enabled, because we'll build the infrastructure and we'll place the equipment or prime our infrastructure for those devices. And that's unique. That's citywide. That's in, let's say, 87 cities in the USA, 10,000 buildings, plus the multiplier effect. And let's say 20% of it, right? Or Amsterdam. Let's say we'll get 200-300 buildings in Amsterdam. That means you have 200-300 distribution points, right? And then there's something unique also about our second approach in a city. And that is that we are working with the city councils then to get our infrastructure also on the, in the streets. That means our own poles, our own fiber connected poles. Not just buildings then, but in order in your city or your neighborhood to have those fiber locations, we have to have a grid kind of approach. So we'll see how many per street we will connect. That will be a pole or a street light or something like that. So that's going to complete then the whole smart city infrastructure need of any city. And that's, I don't know of any project taking this approach, but it's needed. If you don't do it this way, there's still going to be the catch-22 or the chicken and egg story. What comes first? What will go first? And we say, you know what? Infrastructure comes first, and then plan that infrastructure for the connections. The IoT devices and so on. Now, I think, how long have I been talking?
Long.
Long.
Okay,
you talk.
No, I'll be your timekeeper, but you can go on for a few minutes and then we have the Q&A session.
Yeah, I think that's why I was asking. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk more. I could talk for days, but okay. He knows. So yeah, any questions? Because I may not have told the full story, but let's answer some questions. No? Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Well, you must have questions, guys.
Okay, Ian.
Waiting for technical stuff to be erased.
So what? Sorry.
Waiting for technical stuff to be erased.
Yeah.
Is it
Proceeding. Yeah.
Yeah, am I good? Oh, we'll cut this out, okay?
No, that's okay.
We won't. But Michiel, don't make it difficult, okay? Otherwise I'll run away.
No, it's got some plain
Okay.
questions. I think some are really, I'd say, obvious. But one of the main questions I have is the fact that how big is the kind of the serving area you can serve from one base point, one gathering point, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
How big is that?
I'm gonna draw it, okay? Let me check in my... So, there's a difference here. You mean the wireless, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, does this work? So, let's see, this is a building. And this is a pole, right? So, what you would do, and by the way, we'll talk about his vision in a bit, and that really blows everything out of the water, but okay. This is one access node. What we have said is, okay, one node could do a 360-degree approach, but we'll do one by 120 degrees. So we'll do three, right, of them, and that makes 360 degrees, right? So you have a 360-degree radius. So the radius, that's what you're asking, and I'll come there, I promise. But what happens is we have so many of them there in a bit. That's why we go for the on-net buildings, right? Because they are on-net, we hope to get 20%, but maybe if we drive them crazy, we'll get 30, 40, 50%, right? But that means we place a lot of those equipment there. However, the radius of each is longer than we are going to use it for. First of all, it's only 120 degrees, so you have 3 times the power, right? But we use it for calculations, for deployment model, but each one of them would be okay. That's 1.5 gigabit throughput, right? And then times 3, right? That was the 4.5 gigabit I'm talking about. That's what you need backhaul for, right? Fiber backhaul. You can't do that on UTP and so on. So, but this one has a radius, but this one also. So there are a few things that count here. We say, okay, let's limit it to, let's say, 100 meters, right? But, you know, this is a small radius, right? I have an old AC router here, and we can use it 50 meters away. And this is just a crap thing, you know, that you can buy at a media market here. So these are access points, carrier grade access points. They can go a long way. But there is a problem, of course, because the longer the distance, yeah, the lower the data rate. So that's why we keep it to 100, because we want to promise anyone who picks our service a gigabit service. So that's why we take 100 meters. But there's a little nice secret, which won't be a secret anymore, and that is this one transmits also. But the radius could be 1,000 meters. It could be 1,000 meters. We limit it to 100 meters. And we don't limit it physically. It's just because we do each 100 meter radius. That means the diameter is 200 meters. Because 200 meters that way, there will be another one. But the throughput could go, you know, this one could even reach 1,000 meters, right? So this one can get this one's too, and vice versa. Because the radius is not physically limited. Well, it is up to a certain point, of course. But within this radius, we could start with having 300 meter distance, right? But then you won't be able to promise one gigabit throughput. This gives anyone in the neighborhood that is, I mean that neighborhood, in the vicinity of that 100 meter radius, gives a 1 gigabit throughput. And you'll get it because the other ones that are subscribed to Angie or using it as a guest or so, are not using a gigabit download all the time, right? So this is just 1.5 gigabit, right? But it's practically 4.5 gigabit because there are 3 of them. So we have a 4.5 gigabit per 100 meter radius. That's unheard of. That's not even possible with cable technology or DSL technology. This is 4.5 gigabit per system. And we'll have one nearby, you know, 200 meters away, there will be another one.
Would it help if with the first deployment in an area, you would get more on top and just close down the radius and be further
Well, you just gave me my deployment model.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, but that's it. That's the truth. So that's why we are going for the on-net buildings, right? The more, the better. Because it takes 3 months to connect them with 10 gig, but all of a sudden you have a hub. So we ask those building owners rooftop rights. Some we even pay, you know, depending on how pretty they are. But this is our model. But, you know, the building owners, they get something in return because they can get their tenants to get 1 gigabit connectivity. And we get in return that we have a fast area of fiber connectivity. And that's why we go with the on-net buildings first. That's why it's easy for us in the USA. 87 cities, 10,000 buildings. And usually they are all in business districts. But that's where the money is being made. We're going to give away gigabit connectivity to poor communities and low-income areas. That's okay. We can do that. But the money is made in the residential areas and in those areas. Because everyone in those buildings are a potential customer. Because they use internet service one way or the other somewhere. Now we're not thinking that all of them will all of a sudden jump on onto Angie's offering, but you would be an idiot. Sorry. You would be silly if you won't do it. Because A, it's price, and B, it's a gig connectivity. So yeah, this range could be 500 meters, because this one can transmit even beyond that. Of course, there are, you know, obstacles, because there's physical elements there that are, you know, suppressing the radius, but still, it would be able to transmit 1,000 feet. So what you have then is all those, they are transmitting 360 degrees, right? And you get another building, they are all transmitting. And this could be coming from left or right, wherever there is a location, an access point. We have 360 degrees, remember? And we have 3 times 360 degrees, as a matter of fact. Because each one is not physically limited at 122 degrees. 120 degrees. It's 3 times 360 degrees, which we do for our purpose. But there is no physical barrier. Any other questions? Was that enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, regarding the residential in Amsterdam, are you considering asking for co-funding, for example, from the gemeentes
No,
or
no.
anything like that?
No, because then, all of a sudden, and I'm not a good dancer, so, you know, I would be asked to dance to the tunes. Hey, what are you doing? Okay. So then I would be asked to dance to the tunes of the cities, and that's not going to happen. First of all, I'm a bad dancer, and second, you know, it's going to be limiting. So, you know, funding is available as we need. We have been in the funding industry since years. So we know where to get the money, where we have the money, and so on. This building is owned by one of our investors. He's not here at the moment in the country. But you see, we may go for European funding. Yes, that's true. But that's a different story. But that's about a lot of money. We have a good friend, a former Cisco top executive finance guy, Frederick Rombout. He will be here next week, or one of these days. He would be here today, but he couldn't make it. Of course, this was all short notice, as you know, but he'll be here. And he's going to help us get funding one way or the other through that side. But we have access to a lot of capital. The problem is when you get capital in this area, at this time for Angie, it will cost equity. Banks won't really be an option for the next few months still, 6 months, let's say. It is an option, but not immediate. But then you are looking at funding from private investors, or the venture capital industry, or, you know, private equity. We'll see.
Just a question though.
Yeah.
What was the reason for asking that question? Do you have some?
No, I wasn't questioning your access to funding, because, you know, we've already covered
Yeah.
that in previous discussions, Niels, and I don't have...
Letty's from Colt.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
so,
was just triggered because, you know, if you're looking at a
no, yeah,
residential
this is so big, it could be of the interest for the cities. Yeah,
big
no,
residentials and all
no,
that. I
because
thought,
the minute you
maybe
want
you'll
something,
get support, whether it's from planning or wage,
Yeah,
maybe wage
no,
leaves and
yeah,
all
no,
that
we
sort of
won't,
stuff.
we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's